Today we've come to the only Spirulina farm in Northern Europe, and the reason we come here partly to meet interesting neighbours doing interesting things, but also to look at their scrap. This was an old forestry research site that the friends have bought to start their spirulina production. For me, it's always intriguing to look at what goes into the dumps here and what gets thrown away from changes of businesses, etc. I'm interested in parts, things that I can make things with. And whenever we need to develop infrastructure at the farm, the first question we ask is, how do we make that, rather than where can we buy one of them? One of the big projects I've got coming up is broiler pens. I want to build a broiler pen that can be pulled by the ATV and raise 250 birds at a time. We've had an order for 1,000 birds early in the year, and I want to be able to produce them more efficiently. So it's a good opportunity for us to try a different way of production. You see this big waterer here that would have watered all their tree seedlings on this rail system. So this is all going to scrap other than what we take. Maybe I can grow some salad crops up in the top of the greenhouse above our tomato and cucumber crops, and also vertically up on the walls. There's quite a lot of resources here that I think we could have some fun experimenting with. Seeing as this is the only spirulina farm in Northern Europe, we should go and take a look.
I'm a marine biologist from the beginning, and I always had big interest in aquaculture. I was thinking, how can I make a living from growing something in water? And I told Michelle I was going to Fiji and trying to start a company there growing langusta, big lobsters without claws. But it didn't work. So I was, for several years, I was just trying to study and find out what can I do that is not too hard to do and still gets a good profit. Yeah. And eventually this is what I came up with.
Grace, what's in here then? Algae. Yeah. Is it an algae? It's a cyanobacteria, no? What is that exactly?
If you're looking at biology, I would rather say it's bacteria, cyanobacteria. But cyanobacteria is more like an algae than a bacteria.
So it's a bacteria that behaves like an algae.
Yeah. This is the only bacteria that has photosynthesis.
What does it happen what does that mean?
It means it can turn sunlight into what? Food. Yeah. And how many spirulina farms have you been to, Gracie?
Don't know.
This is the only spirulina production in Northern Europe, you said? Yeah.
But maybe you have been to one in Southern Europe. In France, it's very popular. We have a lot of micro spirulina farms.
And what sort of how many cubic meters is this tank?
About 10 cubic meters.
And what would you expect the production to be from?
The production is about 10 kilos a week.
10 kilos a week.
Yeah.
And it's a high value product, obviously, so that sounds like a lot of spirulina actually.
Yeah, they grow much faster than plants, and also they have, because if you consider it as a bacteria, and bacteria they have exponential growth rate. So, I mean, they double themselves in every 2 or 3 days. So if you harvest half of it on Monday, you have them all back on Wednesday, Thursday. So it's really, really rapid growth. When they're cold, like they are now, it's about, I think 8 or 9 degrees, they're sensitive to light. So if you expose them to direct sunlight, they will die. So you need to have, and also this insulates a little bit.
And which species is it? Is it Maxima, or there's two, no? Main.
There's two. And this is Platensis.
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 Is that more common for production?
It is. I don't know exactly why it's better, but that's the one they recommend. The water is very special medium because And that's the advantage of growing spirulina. It's an extremophile. It can survive in extreme environment. So I create this very alkaline water for them. And then there will be no other organisms that can survive in the water. So you get a very pure product.
Yeah.
And since we have this alkaline environment that only they are thriving in, we don't have to use any kinds of pesticides or nothing to extinguish, to remove other kinds of organisms. That's why you can grow it like this in the open ponds. If you look at a lot of other algae, they're very sensitive to invasion, and they have to use these bioreactors in an enclosed system, so you will protect them from foreign species. We would prefer to have it on the floor, but this all kinds of old structure was too hard to remove, and also we just had a testing period for 6 months, and if it wouldn't work, we had to restore everything afterwards. So we just built on top of all of this to make a new support.
What's this for?
This is to see the depth. This is how you measure how much spirulina you have in the water. It's very simple, and you just put it in the water, and when it disappears, when you can't see it anymore, you measure how many centimeters you can see, and then you can calculate how much spirulina you have in the water. It's there. It's a good state of growing for them. They have still space, and they want to grow. So, and I have another stripe there, the blue one. That's 2 centimeters depth, and that's 3. And when it reaches 2 centimeters, then you can harvest, because they won't grow much more after that. They're like full. So you harvest back up to this one, and then you go like back and forth there.
So which one is that right now?
It's like the whole nail is almost vanished.
And when you say 10 kilo production a week, that's wet, obviously.
Yeah, it's wet.
What would that turn into in dry, like powdered form? Or?
It's 1/4 would be the dry.
So 2.5 kilos.
Yeah,
And what's that worth in Sweden?
it's a lot. It's about,
I
if you have
know.
a dry product, of course it's much cheaper than the fresh one. The fresh
Yeah.
one is more expensive. But it's, I've seen prices about 150 crowns a hecto, so that's 1,500 a kilo.
Yeah.
So maybe, it's 5,000.
Can you tell me just quickly how you harvest?
Yeah. So this is just a prototype.
Okay.
So, what's your hand, Grace? We just
Aha.
put it on we have a stand for it, so
Yeah.
we put it out there. And then we just take the pump and pump up the
And this is just a very fine.
Yeah, very fine mesh. It's 50 microns.
Okay, this is like we'd use for compost tea or something, and
Oh yeah.
and so you just pump water through, and you pump until it blocks up, basically.
We have a big shovel, so when it pumps up, we just shovel it, and then we pick it up, and then it's still really wet, so we have a press afterwards. So we put it in a press and just squeeze out every last drop of water,
Yeah.
and then it forms like a paste. It's quite a hard paste. It's not wet form anymore.
Yeah.
This totally would be about 80 cubic meters.
80 cubic meters, and that was pretty cool, pretty interesting. I'm going to go home to do some notes and sketches to see if I can turn any of this stuff into useful infrastructure. I hope you enjoy our videos. If you want to follow the farm, you can click subscribe below and follow us on Facebook. And if you want to find out more about our farm, how we work, you can read our book, Making Small Farms Work, which is available in the links below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.